Here is a cucumber from my garden. And here's a sketch of a cake drawing that we're gonna do. Here's another one. Let's get started.
Hello, my talented artists.
Wayne Thiebaud is an American artist well known for his paintings of cakes, pies, and other diner foods. One of his first jobs as a teenager was at a diner that served hot dogs and ice cream. One summer during his high school years, he apprenticed at Walt Disney Studios, drawing famous cartoons like Goofy. He enlisted in the Air Force and served as an artist in the first motion picture unit. Thiebaud was also an art teacher, and one of his students was Fritz Scholder, who became a famous Native American artist. Look carefully and compare one of Wayne Thiebaud's paintings with a photo recreating the painting. What are some of the similarities? Pause to discuss. What are some of the differences? Pause to discuss. Wayne Thiebaud's paintings are known for exaggerated colors and well-defined shadows. He also used repetition to create rhythm. Repetition is when you repeat something over and over. Can you find repetition in Wayne Thiebaud's paintings? Pause to discuss. First things first, of course, write your name on the back of your paper. Don't forget to put your secret code. Draw a little shape around it. We are going to draw a cylinder, which will be the basis for your cake. If you want, you may draw more than one cylinder. Just like Wayne Thiebaud really loved repetition, you may repeat 2 or 3 cylinders. Each cylinder will be a cake. However, you can also have repetition in the decorations on one cake. You know what? Before we draw anything on our white piece of paper, I want you to get your sketchbooks out, and we are going to practice something that will help you sketch onto your nice white paper. Turn to a blank page in your sketchbook or a blank corner. My sketchbook's getting filled up. What we're going to do is we are just going to take our regular pencil and we are going to press hard and make a line, or you can make like a little short scribble. And then we're going to press a little bit lighter, make a short scribble. Press a little bit lighter, little bit lighter, little bit lighter. And once you do that, you have made a value scale. So let's label it. My value scale is a bit hard to see. So here is another value scale. I would like your value scale to have 5 values at least. And I'd like you to label it. So go ahead and write value scale above or below your value scale. What is it that made this darker and made this lighter? What did I do? Why did the value change? That's right. Good job. So I want you to remember that whenever you are starting your artwork with a sketch, do it lightly. So please remember to use a light sketchy line. Get your white papers. You can have it be landscape, that's horizontal, or you can have your paper be vertical, That's also called portrait. It's really your choice which way you want it, but think about what you want to draw, how you want your cake to be, and you will have a better idea. If you want a tall cake, maybe you want it to be portrait. If you want a wide cake, or maybe you want two cakes, maybe you want it to be landscape. My paper is horizontal and I'm gonna draw one cake. The first thing to do is to draw an oval. So of course I'm gonna try to have that light sketchy line. I don't want it right at the top because I want some room for decorations. Maybe a couple inches below the top of the paper, you're gonna draw a sketchy, very sketchy oval. And when you're drawing an oval, one way to get it smoother is to kind of go over and over with your line. I'm gonna show this closer. I'm keeping it very sketchy, so it's kind of hard for you to see it. I don't know if you can see it a little better in this shot, but you get the idea that I am drawing an oval. We are going to draw our two parallel lines that are the sides of the cake. But we want our lines to start at the very ends of our oval, whatever the ends of our cakes are. So I'm gonna do a very light dot on each end. Then I'm gonna draw a vertical line, and it's not gonna go all the way down. In fact, remember, I'm gonna have a curve that's coming down here. So I don't wanna get too close to that bottom edge. Now, this line has to be parallel, remember what parallel means? So I'm going to carefully draw a parallel line all the way down. It's a little easier when your parallel lines are also parallel to the edge of your paper. Now we're going to look at this curve. And remember, I don't want you to draw it darker. I'm drawing it darker so that you can see it. And I am going to make a parallel curved line here, hopefully. Let's see how I do. And remember, you can make a sketchy line. That's what's nice about doing it lightly. It's so easy to erase or even just draw over if you're doing oil pastel. It's a great medium to just draw over. So I think that's pretty good. And I don't want to forget that I have this nice curve on top. I have created a nice cylinder that is the beginning of my cake drawing. Then you have some decisions to make. Do you want your cake sitting on a plate? Wayne Thiebaud often had his just sitting right on the table. That is a good choice. You can also do something different. But I'm gonna make a little plate, and it's actually gonna be a big plate. And my plate is going to go off the edge of the page. It's fine to have lines going off your page. But again, this is a similar curve. So this is, I would say it's even a parallel curve, but I need to really look at this curve here so that I draw a curve that is similar. And it's going to go right off the page. And again, I can use this curve to help guide the back of my plate. It kind of looks like a hat at this point, but when we add our color and our decorations, it will not look like a hat, or it will look like a cake hat. I'm not sure. Before we start adding our oil pastels, I do want you to have a rough idea of where you want your decorations. And this is where we can add our repetition. So I want you to think of a shape. You can look at some of maybe your organic shapes that you have in your sketchbook. I might use something like this. And I'm just going to do that shape. I'm going to repeat that shape along the edge of my cake. You can just draw them evenly spaced around the curve of your cake. If you want to keep your cake simple, you don't have to have any decoration. Just coloring it in will look great. If you want to do a decoration, just pick one thing to do. I'm going to show you two different ideas just to get your creative juices flowing, but I want you to just pick one decoration. So this one, I'm going to do a wavy line of frosting. And this wavy line, I am going to repeat, but in a different way than the flower. I'm going to have it go up the cake a little bit. And I'm just going to repeat that wavy, long wavy line. I think it looks more like frosting when it's a little bit imperfect. You have two parts of your drawing, the subject, which is going to be your cake or cakes, and then the background. And you have lots of choices. If you look at Wayne Thiebaud's paintings, you can see sometimes he painted 1 or 2 horizontal lines behind the cakes to create the illusion of a table or a counter, and you can do that too. There's one more thing that we need to do before we're done with our sketch, and that is we have to add a shadow. Shadows were so important. And you know what? I'm almost regretting doing my plate because I think I've made my shadow a little bit hard. You have to decide where you want your shadow, and it's going to be a curved line. And if you have a plate, it's going to actually change a little bit. I'll show you a picture of that. So you want to start someplace around here. If you have a bumpy line of frosting, you're going to have to sort of do the shadow in that bump, and then you're going to start to do the curve. It's just a slight curve. Mine goes off the plate like that. But then I need the round part of the cake, and the shadow is going to change a little bit. So it's not completely aligned with the plate. So we're going to end the shadow up near the top of the cake. If you have a cake on a plate, of course you're going to have the shadow of the plate too. So if my light source is coming from here, all my shadows are going to be on this side. So I'm going to draw another little line here, and that will be the shadow of my plate. Here is a simpler cake that does not have a plate. I think this curve is not as round as this one, so I'm gonna make it come out a little bit more. And because I did draw a sketchy line, it's not too difficult to erase. I'm making it darker so you can see it, and I want you to keep it light. Keep your pencil lines light. I'm making them dark. So let's draw a simple shadow. I'm going to do 2 simple ones. If we look at one of Wayne Thiebaud's paintings here, you can see the shadow just goes right off the page using 2 diagonal lines. The front of the shadow starts at the front of the cake, and it's just a diagonal line back like that. And then if we look at the back line, it's up near here, but this line we have to pay attention to. The shadow line should be parallel to that. It's just going to go right off the page so we don't have to do the curve. So that's one idea for a shadow. And then the lighting would be coming from over here. So this would be the light part of the cake, and it would get darker as we go around. I'm going to erase this. Now I'm going to draw the shorter shadow that you can see the whole shadow in. And if I'm looking at this particular cake painting, I notice that when Wayne starts the shadow, it's not as dramatic a diagonal line. It comes a little bit more to the side, little curve, and then it doesn't end way up here. And this all has to do with where the light is. The curve of the shadow ends at the side of the cake like that. So that's where this shadow is going to be. It's going to end here and begin here and have a little curve. So that is a nice, simple way to do the shadow. And then if I wanted to add a horizontal line to make it look like it's sitting on a counter or a table, I can just draw a line in the back. I can't wait to see what you sketch.